Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life? Like you wake up every day, go through the motions, but deep down you know you're not where you're supposed to be? If you're nodding right now, this story is just something you stumbled upon. It says, the message you've been waiting for. Because what I'm about to share isn't about some hero who conquered the world. It's about a man, just like you, who was trapped not by his circumstances, but by something far more dangerous, the invisible prison he built in his own mind. See, most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they're terrified of becoming who they truly are. They stay small because staying small feels safe. They delay, they doubt, they overthink, and before they know it, years have passed and they're still exactly where they started, wondering what went wrong. This is the story of David, a 34-year-old man living in Seattle, working at a call center, answering complaints 8 hours a day. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't dumb. In fact, he had dreams, once big ones. He wanted to start his own business, travel, write a book, do something that mattered. But somewhere along the way, those dreams got buried under bills, responsibilities, and a voice in his head that whispered the same lie every single day. You're not good enough. Every morning, David would sit on the train heading to work, staring out the window, watching the city move, watching people rush past with purpose, and he'd feel this hollow ache in his chest. He wasn't living, he was surviving. And the worst part? He knew it. He'd scroll through social media, see people younger than him launching businesses, traveling the world, living boldly. And instead of feeling inspired, he'd feel angry. Angry at them, angry at himself, angry at life. But he never did anything about it, because doing something meant risking failure, and failure meant proving that voice in his head right. So he stayed stuck, day after day, year after year, watching his life slip away like sand through his fingers. One cold Tuesday evening, David sat on a bench outside the train station, exhausted, defeated, staring at his phone, mindlessly scrolling. An old man sat down next to him, weathered hands, calm eyes, the kind of man who'd seen a lot of life. They sat in silence for a moment. Then the old man spoke, not looking at David, just staring ahead. You know what the saddest thing in the world is? He'd said quietly. Davy glanced over, surprised. It's not failure, the old man continued. It's watching someone die while they're still alive. David felt something twist in his chest. The old man turned to him now, looked him straight in the eyes, and said, the life you're afraid to lose by trying. You've already lost by not trying. Then he stood up, nodded once, and walked away. David sat there, frozen, those words echoing in his mind like a bell he couldn't unhear. He realized, in that moment, something he'd been running from his whole life. He wasn't stuck because of his job, his money, or his past. He was stuck because he'd chosen to be. He'd chosen comfort over courage. He'd chosen the known pain of regret over the unknown risk of change. And that choice, repeated every single day, had built the cage he was living in. That night, David went home and did something small. He didn't quit his job. He didn't buy a plane ticket. He didn't make some grand dramatic gesture. He just opened his laptop and wrote one paragraph. That's it. It felt awkward, uncomfortable, like using a muscle he'd forgotten he had. But he didn't stop. The next night, he wrote again. Then again. Weeks turned into months. He started waking up an hour earlier, not to scroll, but to create. He started saying no to things that drained him and yes to things that scared him. Slowly, painfully, he began to shed the identity he'd been hiding behind, and something shifted. Not overnight, not like magic, but shift by shift, choice by choice. David started to feel alive again. 6 months later, he published his first article online. A year later, he left the call center. 2 years later, he was running his own content business. Not rich, not famous, but free. Free from the prison he'd built. Free to finally become who he was meant to be. Now, let me tell you something. This story isn't just about David. It's about you. Right now, reading this, you're at the same crossroads he was. You can keep waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of yourself. Or you can accept a hard truth. You're not stuck because life is hard. You're stuck because you're afraid of who you'll have to become to get unstuck. And that fear, that resistance, that voice telling you to wait, it's not protecting you. It's killing you. Slowly, quietly, one day at a time. The life you want is on the other side of the person you're afraid to be. So the only question left is this: how much longer are you willing to wait?